When I was younger, my PSP came with me everywhere. It was part of my everyday carry. I used it every day. I used it at home, on the go. Every day, that was my primary gaming console for probably the majority of my child years to early teens. Recently, I was a little curious to see if the PSP held up, so I dug it out. And to my surprise, the 15-year-old battery held its charge. This is the original battery that I had that I played the absolute out of. Okay, so I have to give you guys a little backstory on my PSP. The UMD drive on this thing stopped working a while ago. So I remember when I was maybe in my early teens, could have been even 9, 10 years old, but I remember sitting in front of the computer watching countless amounts of YouTube videos to try and mod it. I remember back in the day you needed a special battery. There's a whole procedure. It was a little bit complicated, but I remember spending an exorbitant amount of time trying to, that's at least how I remember it. Maybe that's not how it panned out, but I remember spending a lot of time trying to mod it, getting it hacked because the UMD drive wouldn't work, so I couldn't play any games. So you guys know why I wanted it modded, right? When I booted it up today, in today's world, it was still modded and I still had those unlocked abilities. Thankfully nowadays, modding is a whole lot simpler. There's a bunch of resources on YouTube. If any of you guys have a PSP, which I'm assuming a decent amount probably do if you clicked on the video, you probably got one lying around. If you want to mod it, there's a whole lot of resources all around the internet, but on YouTube, a nice hands-on tutorial, there's a lot of them. So okay, mine was already modded. I had that checked off the list. Where do I go from here? I started messing around with the classic games. One of them being Midnight Club 3. That was my poison back in the day. So I started there. But then I was like, what could really break the nostalgic childhood brain that this thing's putting me into? You know, it's putting me into that mindset. What could really just like freak me out? And I came across emulators, and more particularly a Game Boy emulator for the PSP. If you grew up with a Game Boy playing all these Pokemon games, having it run on a PSP is just crazy. Just seeing the startup screen kind of just blew my mind, and immediately texted my brother like, yo, look at this is crazy. And so that kind of just blew my mind. I know nowadays emulators aren't that crazy. You can run them on your phone, so it's nothing special, but seeing it when you grew up in an era where, you know, emulators weren't that big, and just seeing Pokemon load up on a PSP is just, it's crazy. Is a PSP in 2025 gonna replace your gaming PC, your Steam Deck, your Nintendo Switch? No, it's not. We all know it's not in the same tax bracket as these things. It's a different thing, it's a different era, so it's not gonna replace it. What it is good for is just revisiting that nostalgic part of your mind and those nostalgic games that you just sort of grew up playing. It's not all good games are new games. There's a bunch of old games that are great, that, you know, the retro gaming community is alive and well. But, you know, like the classic games that I played that I loved playing were Midnight Club, any of the Lego games. So Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, and Lego Batman. Great games. Those are the games I grew up with. So when I play them, it kind of just takes me a little back to like, you know, when stuff was a little bit slower, nothing was online, you just played the game and enjoyed it. And that's exactly what it does. It kind of just makes you enjoy the game. With all that said, you know, slowing down time, locking you in, no internet connection, we all got way too much shit to do. So that only lasts so long. What further got me into it is seeing how the modding community and the repair community around this thing is. I didn't know that it was this alive and well. And that's not just to go with the PSP, but for the old Nintendo DS's or even Game Boys, there's a lot of like shell swapping, customization being done. For the PSP in particular, for the 1000 version, you can put an LCD screen in it, which is a huge improvement on the screen. So there's a lot of excitement towards kind of just tinkering around with these old handhelds. If you want to customize it, if you want to restore it. I know my case is a little bit dinged up, but you know, there's a whole world surrounding that. The parts are pretty easily accessible too. A lot of them can actually be found on Amazon. Some stuff from AliExpress, depending on what you're looking for, but batteries, memory cards, chargers, buttons, shells, a lot of that stuff can be found on Amazon and just shipped to your door. So that's really what piqued my interest in this, is bringing new life into these old handhelds instead of just having them collect dust, you know, in your closet or something. A few things I recommend if you have an old PSP or you want to buy one off Marketplace, or your friend's giving you one, whatever the case may be. I got a few recommendations. The first of which is check the battery. Make sure the battery's not swollen. Make sure it's holding a charge. I was fortunate enough that my really old battery works fine, which is crazy. Make sure that it's safe, nothing's swollen, nothing's gonna blow up, and get a replacement as soon as possible. Next, I would recommend getting a microSD card memory stick. This is probably gonna be one of the upgrades I do in the future. Right now I'm rocking the original 4GB memory stick I had in this thing. You could put a huge microSD card in there and just load it up with basically anything you want. So that basically concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments if you have a PSP, if you're looking to get into it. Maybe you're looking for one on Marketplace right now, but let me know which PSP you have, which one you're getting. What do you plan on doing? Because if you made it this far, you're definitely interested in this. So yeah, just let me know in the comments below, and peace out.